Hello, I'm Austin, and today I want to talk about Fallen Aces, the new FPS/ImSim from New Blood, the guys behind Ultrakill and Gloomwood. Fallen Aces is more like Gloomwood than Ultrakill, but it really stands out on its own. It has its own style. 30s mob and goon enemies combined with a wonderful comic book aesthetic is more than enough to keep me engaged. It really stands out of the crowd, and it plays really good as well. Let's talk about that aesthetic, because Fallen Aces might be one of my favorite looking games this year. I'm an absolute sucker for a fun and unique art style. They are something I remember and think about far more than realism of a lot of video games go for. Fallen Aces is something that stands out. As soon as you look at it, it pops right off the screen and sears itself into your mind. This comic book style also fits with the gameplay very well. There are a lot of small touches that really bring the world to life or make gameplay more engaging. The character portrait gets bloodier as you take damage, the shading that covers you to let you know how visible you are, and the exploration it encourages by scattering weapons, keys, or other secrets around the environment. An FPS with ImSim elements is some of my favorite genre of video games. Some of them tend to rely a bit too much on stealth for my taste, but Fallen Aces does not have that problem. It can be a fast-paced brawl if you want it, with no consequences, which makes exploring and finding new weapons like the sniper rifle or the nail gun a complete blast. That isn't to say Fallen Aces doesn't have stealth elements, I just personally didn't engage with them that much. Unless the game is Dishonored, stealth games really aren't my style. The enemies are also an absolute blast. The goons will be throwing out one-liners and mocking you if you whiff an attack. They are very active, and it makes knocking them out with a solid punch very satisfying. You don't see enemies react like this very often in games, and I would love to see more of it. It makes fights feel more dynamic and reactive as enemies mock you or mention how you're kicking their ass. It also helps that there is some nice variety with the enemies. These goons might be coming at you with their fists or try to take you out from a distance with snipers. They will wield Molotovs, pipe, knives, and a bunch of different guns. They can also swarm and surround you easily if you lose track of the environment. Thankfully, Michael Thane is far from defenseless. He is an excellent boxer and can use his fists to take out any of these goons. That said, he can also use just about anything around him as a weapon. He can pick up and throw chairs and trash cans, or pick up baseball bats to just beat these goons to death. He can also make sure his enemies have a bad time by taking up banana peels or marbles and having them just trip on the floor where you can easily take them out. Fallen Aces also has an engaging story. It isn't finished yet as the game is in early access with only the first of 3 episodes out right now, but it serves as a solid hook. The story follows Detective Michael Thane as the mob comes after him. He has to figure out why and how to stop them. Episode 1 has plenty of levels that are large and open. They're ripe for exploration, and Fallen Aces continuously delivers. It took me about 5 hours to go through episode 1, and each level is around half an hour, so really depends on how much you want to secret hunt and if you go nice and slow with stealth. I'm a huge fan of the open level design versus an open world. I think these open levels allow for a great sense of exploration without ever feeling dull or boring. It also allows some great variety. Them being all different levels means it doesn't have to be quite as cohesive as you would expect in an open world, which really allows level designers to kind of just do whatever they want, and I really appreciate that. And the levels do feel crafted. If you have played some of their other games like Dusk or Ultrakill, then you'll be familiar with open levels that have secrets scattered all over the place. Once you complete a chapter, it will tell you how many secrets you collected, so you know which levels to go back to and explore more thoroughly if you're a completionist. That has never been for me. I'm just not a completionist, but it is something I appreciate, and it's always fun to stumble across in a level, especially when it's a fun secret like a new weapon. Guns are extremely powerful weapons, as you would expect, but they are very rare. You will mostly be using stealth if that's your jam, or melee weapons combined with your fists and anything in the environment you can pick up and toss. This does lead to one aspect I don't particularly enjoy. If you take out an enemy head on, their weapons automatically break. It doesn't matter if they hit you with it or not, it breaks. This somehow includes guns? Guns just shatter in the enemy's hands somehow. What kind of grip do these goons have? You can get around this by using stealth, but the gun's enemies often have like one bullet if they have any at all. Despite the fact they are firing at you, they have infinite bullets. I just find this rather counterproductive. If I'm using stealth, I don't need the weapons as much, while if I go in loud, I have far more use for these weapons. While this does encourage using a combination of stealth and going loud, the lack of bullets enemies drop combined with how easy it is to find melee weapons in the environment makes it kind of a lackluster reward. I think if they have enemies drop more ammo with their guns, then this could be fixed. As is, outside of guns, the weapons enemies are holding aren't any better than what you find scattered all around the levels. If I could drop an armed goon using stealth and run up, grab his gun, and gun down the other ones, that would be very satisfying. That would make me feel like a total badass. But as is, the weapons generally just don't offer enough ammunition for that to be possible. That said, that's really my only complaint with Fallen Aces. The combat is fast and frantic. Stealth is a nice option, especially since you can pick up and move bodies around to avoid getting caught. I also appreciate that it's completely optional. And the story is engaging. I'm excited for episode 2 because I want to know what happens next. You should play Fallen Aces. It is fun, frantic, and insanely stylish. It stands out with its focus on melee combat and incredible 30s comic book aesthetic. The goons are some of my favorite enemies because of how reactive and talkative they are during combat. They make you want to punch them in the face. I wish goons had more unique weapons, so taking them down via stealth was more satisfying, but if that's my biggest complaint, then you know it's good. You all have a great day and go buy Fallen Aces.
What are you guys doing? Get him! Just one man!